Hello and welcome back to the Witches Brew podcast. I am your host, Amanda, and today we are talking about Hecate, or as some call her, Hecate. I was called to do this episode quite a long time ago. I wrote the notes for this weeks ago, and I'm finally having the opportunity to record it. So I'm very excited to do this and to have a chance to talk about her. She is definitely beloved in the witchcraft community. There are whole books dedicated to her and written about her life. So if she is someone that you are interested in, definitely take a look at some of those books. This is just going to be a brief overview of her and her mythology and kind of what she stands for, as well as my experience working with her. You may hear some baby babble in the background. My youngest son is joining me here today, so hopefully I'm able to get through this without much interruption, but we have a little helper. So let's real quick talk about Hecate's signs and symbols. They are torches, keys, snakes, dogs. She also shows up as crows or ravens, as well as a lion. And another symbol are knives for her, which is something I did not know until I started looking into her life and her history. I would say the most common ones associated with her are probably torches, keys, and dogs. Which is funny. I actually have two tricolored corgis, and they are both black. Typically, it is going to be a black dog, but it can be other dogs as well. German Shepherds are coming to mind. Some of her offerings that she appreciates are garlic, red wine, incense, cypress, oak, belladonna, mandrake, and yew. Something that I find so interesting about her is that she has dominions in all planes. So the sky, the earth, the sea, and also she has portions of the underworld as well. She is said to help guide souls along with Hermes from the living down into the underworld. So she kind of has a little bit of say in everything. She is also known as the triple moon or the triple-faced goddess, mainly known as the mother, maiden, and crone. So she is multifaceted. She has shown up to me as in most of her forms, I would say. She shows up for me mostly as her mother form. And I guess we will talk about that later. Early Greek theologians also saw her as a protector of the home. So they would also leave offerings for her at thresholds or at some place in their home. Again, she helped usher people between realms, and she also goes very easily in between realms. So it would make sense that she would be a protector of the home as well, from outside to inside the home. And because she is considered to be a liminal goddess, standing over borders, doorways, crossroads, and realms between the living and the dead, as I mentioned, she also mediated between regimes, both mortal and otherworldly. She is most commonly, I think, today referred to as the goddess of the crossroads, but she does go between liminal spaces. And my home is actually situated at a crossroads, which I believe I have mentioned before in some piece of my content. So I was very unsurprised when I started this journey and the guardian of the crossroads was knocking on my liminal doorway. So Hecate also holds the keys to Tartarus, part of the underworld. Um, and there are also versions of Persephone's story, which we have talked about before, where Hecate helps Demeter bring Persephone back from the underworld and help, as well as help Demeter by lending her one of her torches so Demeter can search all areas and all aspects for her daughter Persephone. Again, there are many versions of that story, but those are two. And honestly, the stories of Persephone that involve Hecate or Hermes are some of my favorites, because Hecate and Hermes are some of my favorite gods and goddesses. So due to her association with liminal spaces and crossroads, she became associated with witchcraft by the 1st century CE. However, she's also associated with using plants and herbs to make poisons and remedies, having actually instructed gods, heroes, and some mortals in the art of crafting herbs and tinctures and remedies and poisons in order to help with their cause. And a lot of witchcraft, as many people practice it, do involve herbs in order to make spell oils and tinctures, hexes, wards, things like that. So it makes sense as to why she's so closely associated with witchcraft, as well as she was a mediator between regimes, between realms as well. So a lot of witchcraft does involve those liminal spaces and communication between the living and the deceased, and other realms, other worlds. He's just going off. Loves Hecate, apparently. She also has her own temples located throughout Greece, but she was worshipped in temples dedicated to other gods and goddesses as well, which I thought was very interesting and very cool, is that she shared those spaces with them. So those are the notes that I have on Hecate. I kind of went through those. I kind of went through those pretty quickly. Like I said, her history and her stories are far-reaching. There are a lot that involve her. I just kind of did a shortened Cliff Notes version of that. Now, I'm going to talk about my experience working with Hecate. Some people kind of fear working with the old gods and goddesses for fear of retribution, of not doing something right, and having to, like, quote unquote pay the price. However, in my experience working with them, that is not the case, especially with Hecate. Now, I will say, if you make her a promise, you are going to be held accountable on that promise. Maybe not right away, right? But eventually she will hold you accountable. I will use this podcast episode as an example. She came to me in late January, early February, saying that she wants me to do a podcast about her. And I said, yes, ma'am. I will definitely do a podcast episode for you where we will talk about your history. I will talk about how I worked with you and continue to work with you, as well as different tips and tricks for working with you, Hecate. And I am recording this in late March. It is almost the end of March as I'm recording this. And the last couple days, she's come in and checked in on me periodically and just like nudged me like, hey, remember you told me that you would do this. And that's how I ended up writing the notes for this episode. And then my God, he's just going off. The last couple days, I have felt her just like her presence, just very close, kind of nudging me along, being like, hey, remember, you said that you would do this. When are you going to do it? Like, it's time to do this. Until I sat down and actually recorded this episode. I also promised her that I would leave a glass of wine out on my altar. And I have not done that yet. And I know I will do that this evening. Actually, I will probably do it after this episode. She does prefer red wine. I usually give her a Cabernet. Merlot, Shiraz, they would all be great options. Usually prefers a red wine though. So that is the mother aspect in which she shows up for me. Now everyone's experience is going to be different with her. But in my experience, she usually comes across as pretty nurturing, but also, again, she's going to hold you accountable. If there is something that needs to be done, that needs to be done, she will nudge you along until you do it. She will show up periodically and just be like, hey, you need to do this thing, so why aren't you doing it? And I will usually respond as, I don't know. And I go do it. I have also worked with her. I don't know if I even talked about this on the podcast. I may have. It was a long time ago, though. Back in August of 2025, oh my God, he's going off. I hope that's not too distracting for you guys. I'm so sorry. Back in August of 2025, our AC unit died. It went completely out. And I was quite pregnant. So I was very uncomfortable. It was like the hottest August that I have experienced living in the part of Ohio that I live in ever. So I was super uncomfortable. Also, like, have a toddler. He's uncomfy. As he's sleeping, my husband's uncomfy. And I knew we had, oh my God, dude. I knew we had to get a new AC unit. And I was not sure how I was going to make that happen. I was booking appointments, but not a lot for readings. I was not yet making money off of my YouTube videos for my Deity Medium collective reading channel. And I was sleeping down here in the basement with my recording space. So Hecate is very present down here. That's where I usually see her the most is down here in my recording space. And I could tell she was around, and she's like, hey, what's wrong? Like, tell me what's wrong. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need help with. And I cried. I'm not even gonna lie. I cried because I didn't know financially, like, how we were gonna make a new AC unit happen, period. Like, I was not sure how we would afford the payments, and I was just miserable and overwhelmed and very emotional. And I laid it all out there for her. Sorry. I laid it all out there for her, and I told her everything. He is so loud right now. He is never this loud. But I told her everything that I was struggling with. And she said, "It's okay. I've got you. Sleep on it. It will get better." And my YouTube channel that I do collective readings on, like, I had a video go viral and I ended up being able to monetize off of that. And then the rest of my, again, this is like late August, the rest of my September calendar completely booked up. Something just fell over there. You guys saw that, right? The rest of my September calendar booked up, and then my early September, the rest of my October calendar booked up. And it was honestly like a truly insane experience. So as far as my experiences with Hecate, she has 100% been here for me and helped guide me through this process, and not just in witchcraft, but also like guide me through this process of accepting all aspects of myself, as well as, you know, guiding me. Okay, dude. As well as guiding me through content creation and writing spells, and, you know, knowing which spells to record and what content to publish. She kind of gives me nudges in all of those directions, as well as, you know, the motherly aspect. She holds me accountable and, you know, helps me complete the tasks that I say I'm going to complete. I definitely struggle with task completion sometimes. I also struggle with taking on a lot more than I can handle. And she kind of keeps me in check. And when I do have those moments where I take on more than I can handle, or I'm about to take on more than I can handle, she comes to me and she kind of pulls me back a little bit and reminds me, hey, you know, it might not be a good idea. You have all of this other stuff going on. So why are you about to say yes to something that you don't actually want to do? Totally fair, totally valid. She has also helped me a lot through transitions between one thing and the next. I feel like, especially in the last 3 years, my life has kind of been in constant transition, and and I have really felt in a liminal space in my life. The transition into motherhood is one that just completely rocked me. Ended up leading to me discovering my psychic medium abilities, and then into witchcraft, which is wild. My transition into creating content, and again, transition into becoming a mom of 2 as opposed to just a mom of 1. And she has been, why am I getting emotional about this? Okay. She has been she's been a constant for me, as well as, you know, other gods and goddesses, but she has definitely been there leading the way with her torches, you know, holding space for me and helping me hold space for myself, as well as leading me back to myself when motherhood kind of got the best of me after giving birth to my first son. Oh, wow, that was more emotional than I thought it would be. So yeah, as far as retribution or like those stories like Hecate destroyed my life. Obviously, I don't know what happened in those scenarios. Um, my recommendations, oh, you're sleepy. My recommendations for working with her, don't make big promises. Start off with something small, like I promise to leave you some red wine on your altar once a month, right? That is super easy, something that most people can do and can accomplish. Don't promise her a big ritual and big giant offerings if you can't deliver on that, because she will hold you accountable. Okay? If you are looking to change your circumstances, if you are looking for change in general or transition from one thing to the next, she will make sure that you are ready. If you are asking her for a favor, if you are asking her for help with something, she will make sure that you are ready. And sometimes that means stripping away the old to make room for something new. And that can mean whatever it means for any, this could be people, it could be places, it could be things, it could be mentalities, it could be generational teachings that just aren't going to work anymore. She will make sure that you are ready for that transition. So I highly, highly recommend working with her. Just as always, as I've said before, with working with the old gods, just make sure that you are ready for what you are asking for. Okay? Again, keep promises small, especially when you're first getting used to them. The reward is very great. One of her aspects is mother. And if you have seen a protective mother look after her child, that is the energy Hecate brings to the table. And she will look after you. She will help you receive your karma and help other people receive theirs. If you go to her with a problem, she will definitely help you find a solution. Okay? Again, just be prepared to do the work, because Hecate will ask you to do the work. And the work, my personal opinion, my personal experience, the work is 100% worth it. I would go back and do it all again if I had to, knowing what I know now. Even honestly, even knowing what I knew then, which wasn't as much, but I still willingly did the work because I had a pretty good idea of where it was going. Okay. So I'm going to go take care of little guy. Thank you so much for listening or watching. Sorry for all of the interruptions, but I guess that's infant life for you. But I will see you again next time. Bye, guys.